A warship with a full-length flight deck with area for storing, equipping, deploying, and resurrecting aircraft acts as a sea-based airbase, as it enables a naval force to project air power globally without depending on local grounds for staging aircraft operations. It is typically the capital ship of a fleet. Yes, we are talking about aircraft carriers, which serve as icons of the American military. The United States Navy has 11 substantial nuclear-powered fleet carriers, each carrying up to 80 fighters. Their combined deck space collectively exceeds that of all other countries, but a lot of complex challenges also come along with these significant advantages. If you're curious about what the carriers have in waiting for you, keep watching until the end. Welcome back to our channel. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel. In 2005, the US military conducted a sync exercise test, utilizing the decommissioned USS America as a target to test US carriers' defense capabilities and to influence future supercarriers' development. The ship was continuously blasted and hammered by numerous strikes. According to the War Zone, the carrier survived a sustained bombardment for 4 weeks before the airline finally sank it. How powerful do you think the carriers are? It is a lot more than we could have imagined. A deployed carrier is constantly in motion, and they move quickly enough to outrun the majority of submarines. Therefore, for enemies, discovering a page is not the same as effectively targeting it. It's likely to be gone by the time their weapons get here. A good weapon, but there is a lot of struggle behind it. Carriers are floating nuclear power reactors, fuel tankers, bomb caches, and an airfield. The Navy created sophisticated management practices and doctrines to reduce the danger from munitions and fuel, such as carefully draining fuel lines after tanking aircraft and filling fuel tanks with inert carbon dioxide to prevent fume accumulation. Then they devised efficient damage control and firefighting techniques to isolate and control the damaged ship swiftly. The Navy has been working on creating an integrated network that will connect all of its dispersed warfighting resources for decades. Deployed carriers will receive consistent data from surface and submarine warships and even circling surveillance satellites to identify threats.
Who are you? What are your intentions? This is a U.S. Navy warship. We are not to be messed with.
Carriers never deploy without escorts. These featured multiple surface combatants outfitted with the world's most modern air and missile defenses and nuclear-powered attack subs with the unrivaled capacity to detect and destroy opposing warships on or beneath the sea surface. Carriers are nearly tough to sink and have multiple layers of defense that offer complete protection. The US can project severe military force anywhere in the world thanks to its aircraft carriers, which can house more than 5,000 crew members and operate missions for months. However, cruise missiles, wake homing torpedoes, ballistic missiles, and mines pose the greatest threats to aircraft carriers. A sailor's life can often be challenging and exhausting. Crew members frequently travel for weeks or even months and do not exactly live the high life. Aircraft carriers are similar to floating cities. The experience of living and working on a ship is fantastic. Many aspire to serve as sailors on an aircraft carrier, but doing so is challenging for several reasons. Compared to a regular city, the conditions of the ship are far more crowded. There is no such thing as privacy, and the sleeping arrangements are poor. They are frequently referred to as coffin lockers, since there isn't almost any room to turn in either the bottom or center rack. The most dangerous job for sailors is working on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier. There are noise hazards, heat hazards, respiratory hazards, physical hazards, heavy machinery, jet exhaust, propeller airflow, or air flowing off a helicopter's rotor blades that can all be enough to blow someone overboard. There are some issues such as what many describe as poor accommodation standards on a ship, which was practically a construction site, and a sense that leadership ignored problems and dismissed complaints. How do people sleep on an aircraft carrier when there is jackhammering, smoke, and odor all day? Can you imagine? Finding a peaceful location to sleep on the ship was pretty challenging, and there was no hot water and frequent power outages. In many cases, the berthings lacked ventilation. They must share a few restrooms and a small common area too.
I live in a space that has 24 racks for females and We have 3 sinks, 1 shower, and 2 toilets.
What about serving food on a ship-carrying aircraft? Even though many other aspects of life on an aircraft carrier must be challenging, the Navy rarely skimps on the food because it understands that happy employees make for delighted customers. And content crew members result in fewer problems on the ship. Certain things, including fresh vegetables and fruits, could run out quickly because deployments can extend for several months, and refilling supplies might take weeks. Most residents of an aircraft carrier rarely have the chance to travel outside of their ship. The flight deck, hangar, and fantail are restricted areas with limited access. These are the most hazardous places to work on board an aircraft carrier, despite the breathtaking sky and sea views. The higher levels of the island are sufficiently secure, but few individuals can enter or exit at once because of delicate operations and a lack of accessible space. A sailor working below deck can miss several days of daylight. An aircraft carrier's flight deck, which functions as a sort of at-sea mini airfield, is the area from where its aircraft take off and land. The flight deck may be the most dangerous place to work on Earth, so why don't most Navy crew members visit the carrier's flight deck? The Navy crew members who work on the flight deck run the risk of death from propeller strikes, engine intake congestion, ordnance explosions, fuel fires, arrestor cables severing limbs, losing control of the aircraft, etc. An aircraft weighing 35,000 pounds lands on the deck every 5 minutes. Flame, heat, and ear-splitting loudness, fumes, toxins, and danger are always present. Strong winds, torrential rain, and a shaking deck are always on top of everything else. It's not a location that just anybody can visit. Even when we are not laughing and landing aircrafts, the flight deck is still a busy work area. Even more crucially, alert aircraft will be armed and prepared to take off in an emergency. There will still be a lot of live ordnance and other dangers up there while crews move planes, test equipment, and wires across the deck. A jet engine draws in a lot of air as it rotates quickly. Any solid object such as a nut bolt, spare change, or anything else might cause the engine to lose balance and start spinning apart. As a result, the engine will be destroyed, the plane will be destroyed, and flying metal will be scattered all over the roof, where it will be sucked up by another jet engine and have the same effect on them. So empty your pockets before coming on deck and maintain track of everything you carry. Otherwise, my people, you may be in danger. Living on an aircraft carrier is challenging and extremely exhausting. If a sailor behaves badly, they may receive punishment or possibly spend time in jail, where they can only eat bread and drink water. What do you think of this treatment, guys? Comment below. This brings us to the end of our video. Being on aircraft carriers presents many challenges and tough decisions for many people. However, making sacrifices for our country is worth every hardship. I sincerely hope you enjoyed viewing this video. If so, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. You really should click the bell icon to be notified for future interesting videos.